Did you know that Goku from Dragon Ball Z was once voiced by Steve Blum, the actor who portrayed Spike Spiegel on Cowboy Bebop and Amon on Legend of Korra? Blum's performance as Goku was heard in a video game released for the PlayStation 1 in October of 1997 called Dragon Ball GT Final Bout.
So, let's see how strong you are!
What's interesting about this, though, were the similarities in performances compared to the cast of the TV series, in that those performances were not yet heard. The English voiceover for Final Bout was recorded in California, completely separately from any involvement in Funimation's recording of the show. Despite this, a number of coincidences occurred in that several characters sounded remarkably close to what Funimation's casting choices ended up being, even compared to the original Japanese voices that were used as a base.
You should know more than anyone else that you can't defeat me!
Oh yeah? Well, I understand your feelings are hurt, but I don't think you have much of a choice.
Perhaps this merely goes back to a similar conclusion one could draw to adapt a Japanese character's personality for an American audience at the time, so multiple actors and casting directors came to the same end result. However, there are a few notable exceptions in Final Bout that clearly stem from the original Japanese performances. Frieza, for instance, was voiced by a male actor, Eddie Frierson, as opposed to Frieza's English voice in the TV series at the time being portrayed by a woman.
わかってるよ、パパ。本気は出して。では望み通り一気に型をつけてやろう。
It seems you didn't know that I have the greatest power in the universe.
You are all going to perish, and it won't be pretty.
It wasn't until several years later in Dragon Ball Z Kai, and the recent video games, that Frieza was once again voiced by a male actor in that of Christopher Ayres.
As a matter of fact, in all my years, I've never been so angry as I am now.
How incredibly irritating not to have seen the writing on the wall!
The alternate Canadian dub for Dragon Ball Z was recorded in Vancouver, which continued up to the end of the series after Funimation stopped outsourcing the voiceover to Canada during the Frieza storyline. While the English scripts that were used for this dub were borrowed from Funimation's dub in Texas, the actors were able to make some creative differences. Certain characters sounding similar to each other may have just been a similar coincidence to Final Bout.
I'll explain, but first I have a question. Tell me, Goku, how well can you control your Saiyan abilities? Are you able to transform at will?
There is someone watching. A friend of mine that you destroyed in the past. He's not someone that I could ever let down.
Amongst these creative decisions taken for certain characters during the recording process, a particularly fascinating case lies with the fusion characters introduced during the Majin Buu storyline. In the Japanese version, the fusion characters such as Gotenks and Vegito were played by both individual actors of the characters that fused into them, with their performances being overlaid on top of each other. The Funimation English dub kept this intact, but took an interesting liberty. Because the English actors are recorded separately, ADR director Chris Sabat, who also plays Vegeta, would handle the approach to the two fusions of Goku and Vegeta, Gogeta and Vegito, in different ways. Gogeta, being more heroic and straightforward, would be recorded first by Sean Schemmel and matched by Sabat.
I am neither Goku nor Vegeta! I am the man who will defeat you!
While Vegito, being more cocky and strategic, would be recorded first by Sabat and matched by Schemmel.
I'm Vegeta and Kakarot together! Guess that makes me Vegito!
The Canadian dub, on the other hand, took a very different approach. Gotenks was given a Doppler effect over his voice to emulate the sound of two actors performing over each other. Only instead, Gotenks was performed by a totally separate actor from the individual Goten and Trunks that make him up, Tabitha St. Germain.
See? You're not completely indestructible, are you, big guy?
Vegito, meanwhile, was taken in a different direction, but one that does make sense. Kirby Morrow and Brian Drummond, the Canadian dub's actors for Goku and Vegeta respectively, did not give performances layered on top of each other, but rather Brian Drummond doing a sort of impression of Kirby Morrow's Goku voice.
You're wrong, Boo! I'm destined to destroy you! Call me Super Vegito!
This idea might have been inspired by the voice of Kabuto Kai, who is also not voiced by both individual actors, but rather just the voice of Supreme Kai, given a little more bravado like Kabuto, even in Japanese. Since Kabuto Kai and Vegito were combined from Potara earrings, it's possible that the production felt it would be more logical and consistent to keep this method of voicing the Potara-fused characters. On another note, it's been stated before that the Japanese version has kept all ages and transformations of a single character to be voiced by the same actor all throughout, but in the English dub, there have been exceptions where one character has been shared by a couple actors. The biggest example is Majin Buu. In the Funimation dub, all forms of Buu were played by Josh Martin with the exception of Evil Buu and his powered-up form after absorbing Fat Buu, and all variations of him often referred to as Super Buu, which were played by Justin Cook. In the Canadian dub, however, Fat Boo alone was voiced by Scott McNeil, while all forms of Evil Boo, including the final pure form, often called Kid Boo, were voiced by Brian Dobson. In Dragon Ball GT, the character Yi Xinglong, the evil one-star dragon and final villain of the series, was sort of treated as two characters in Funimation's English dub. The evil dragon characters were renamed, so the one-star dragon was referred to as Sin Shenron, voiced by Bob Carter, but after absorbing all 7 Black Star Dragon Balls, he was then called Omega Shenron, voiced by Chris Sabat. Chris Bevins, Dragon Ball GT's ADR director, mentioned that since Omega Shenron was a combination of all 7 Dragon Balls, that it would make sense for their combined form to have the voice of the dragon Shenron himself, which of course was Sabat.
Of course I did. This isn't a game. And how dare you criticize your own creation? How can this be happening? I am Omega Shenron, the all-powerful dragon.
Circling back to the original Dragon Ball in 2000, when Funimation decided to try recording a new uncut dub for the series after their previous attempt at the first 13 episodes recorded in Vancouver, they decided to have fans vote for which actors would voice certain characters. As an example, here are 4 different choices fans were presented to choose for the character Emperor Pilaf, including Chris Kaysen.
Oh, well, you won't get so much as a bone until you bring me another Dragon Ball!
Damian Clark.
Well, you won't get so much as a bone until you bring me another Dragon Ball!
Mike McFarland, who had previously voiced Pilaf for a few lines in the Dragon Ball movie Mystical Adventure.
Oh, well, you won't get so much as a bone until you bring me another Dragon Ball!
And Chuck Huber, who funnily enough interacted with the Pilaf voiced by McFarlane in that same movie, voicing the Crane Hermit. Chuck eventually booked Pilaf for the series as well as his later appearance in Dragon Ball GT. Ironic, as Chuck Huber had also previously voiced Garlic Jr., and in the anime series, Garlic Jr. and Emperor Pilaf share the same voice actor, Shigeru Chiba.
Oh, well, you won't get so much as a bone until you bring me another Dragon Ball. Ah, look how it sparkles so brilliantly, and yet it is only one piece.
Some last few little funny anecdotes come from a few other series that the Dragon Ball franchise had an impact on. In the CG animated series Reboot, an episode of the show's 4th season featured a parody of Dragon Ball and Pokemon crossed together, with a character clearly referencing Goku. The episode aired in 2001, and this knockoff character was in fact voiced by Ian Corlett, the original voice of Goku from the Saiyan saga when DBZ was still being dubbed in Canada, several years after he had parted ways with the production.
Omahdon, Fujiwan, Sugiria, I release this!
Flashing forward several years later, in association with the 2009 live-action masterpiece known as Dragon Ball Evolution, a video game based on the movie was released for the PSP. This featured 3D models with the likenesses of the actors seen in the movie, but the actors themselves didn't return to voice their characters in the game, so a cast of LA-based actors were used to voice match the celebrities. Yuri Lowenthal, known for many young hero characters such as Ben Tennyson, was brought in to match Justin Chatwin on the teenage movie version of Goku.
Eat this! Somehow I won.
What's funny about this is that prior to this, Yuri Lowenthal appeared in another anime series called Sayuki, similarly based on the Chinese folktale Journey to the West. The character he voiced in the series, designed after the Monkey King, was named, you guessed it, Son Goku.
Wasn't there another guy who said something like this to us before? Ha! From the day I was born till the day I die.
And going a step further, the game Smite, which features many characters based on gods, deities, and mythological beings of various cultures, also has a character based on the Monkey King from Journey to the West, named Sun Wukong, the original Chinese pronunciation. Smite's voiceover was recorded at Christopher Sabat's studio, Okatron 5000, and the Sun Wukong character was in fact voiced by Sean Schemmel.
Stepping away for a moment, attack the Gold Fury! Woohoo! I have returned!
Thanks for watching. This video was inspired by Did You Know Gaming, so go check out their channel and watch all their videos about gaming trivia. Special thanks to Omahdon for the audio mastering, TheEnigmaTNG for the music, and BehindTheVoiceActors.com and Kanzenshu.com for all the audio samples. If you like this video, go check out some of our other ones, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more. See you next time.